Good evening.
Hey.
It's time for Anachronism, the History Channel card game from 2005. The game lasted for 7 sets that were published.
So is a set a collection of heroes in it? Or
Yeah, I'll go into
historical figures.
Yeah, I'll get into that in just a second. It lasted for about two years of being published, and when the game ended, apparently they did publish they released the unpublished text for cards, so that fans could make more of it. But yeah, the Anachronism is a interesting case study because this game does a lot of things that kind of like took off in the industry a lot later. It was a proto LCG. This is what you're looking at for the 2-player starter right here.
10 cards and
10 cards.
Yeah.
2 dice, a play mat, a rule book. That's it, right? So when it originally came out, I believe there were like some demo decks, but the set would release with a starter that would have 2 characters in it that you could buy as like a 2-player thing, and then there was a display that would have like 20 characters, 16 or 20 characters on it. Each set ended up being just a handful of characters. And the way the game works is that you pick a warrior, which is a historical figure from some point in time, and you arrange a set of cards around them. I'll show off some of the art here. When I talk about how graphic design was discovered in the mid 2000s, this is the game that
this is post graphic design discovery.
This is post graphic design discovery, right? Look at that art. Like, that art would not be out of place on Magic cards even by today's standards.
Also,
right?
these cards are thick. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah,
look at that card stock.
These are right. We'll put up next to it real quick just to show you. This is a Marvel Champions card, right there. Okay, look at the difference in card stock.
It's like 3 Marvel Champions cards.
Yeah, they're not meant to be shuffled, so you can actually print them on a little bit heavier of a card stock. And these are all foil. I don't know if you can really tell that from this angle. You might be able to tell it from like the table angle.
Yeah, William Ualis.
Yeah, so what they did is they also tried to kind of preserve the actual like culture and history behind a lot of the characters. All of William Wallace's cards, they all have Gaelic on it. Joan of Arc's cards right here, they all have French spellings and stuff like that on it. So you've got flavor text letting you know about these characters as well.
In English.
In English.
Okay.
Yeah, these are warriors, and this 2-player starter that we have right here, this is another Ollie's salvage. It's like $3 at
$3 Ollie's is pretty good, right?
Yeah, that's like I think retail on this was only like $10 or $12
really?
Anyway, because so the pivot from selling you booster packs of stuff where you're chasing a specific card, if you deviate from that model, you can actually sell somebody a slightly higher quality thing for a comparable price, because you're paying for less, right? You're paying for, in this case, 10 cards, so you're paying like $1 a card here. And when you're printing stuff at scale, you can easily print something very, very nice for $1. So, but yeah, I'll go ahead and talk about the warrior cards right here. There are essentially 2 types of cards in this card game. There are warrior cards and support cards. Your deck, as it were, is built off of 1 warrior plus 4 support cards.
Okay.
At the top there, above the character's name, is your attack grid. And that'll make a lot of sense once we actually set the characters up for the game. But yeah, once you actually see the game in motion, the attack grid will make a lot of sense. You're probably already in your head visualizing how it works. Right here in the corner is the character's element. This is something that doesn't really matter unless it's referred to on other cards.
Okay.
Yeah, for the most part, doesn't do anything in the game by itself, but a lot of support cards refer to it. You've got a type line here in the text box, so French warrior female for Joan of Arc, and then William Wallace is Scottish warrior male. Now, down the side there, you've got 4 stats. You've got your health. If that goes to 0, you die.
Okay.
And that is how you lose the game. You also lose the game if at the end of the 5th round of the game, you have less life than your opponent.
Okay.
So your health is the most important stat, because if that ever goes to 0, you lose. The second number there, represented by a feather, is your speed, and that's the number of actions you get in a round. And
both these get 3 actions around.
Yeah, I believe most characters in the game got 3 actions. There were support cards that would give you additional actions.
Oh, okay.
So, and the third stat there is experience. This is also an important stat. This essentially breaks all of the ties in the game. So the character with the most experience is the one who breaks the most ties. Now, thematically, I don't know if it makes sense for William Wallace to have less experience than Joan of Arc.
Yeah, interesting.
But whatever, we'll go with it. This is made by the History Channel. Surely they know something more about history than I do. So.
Yeah. I assume they had some consultants.
Joan of Arc was burned at 19, and William Wallace died. Was killed by the Empire, by the Britons. Sorry, not the British Empire, but he was killed by the Britons in when he was 35.
Oh, okay.
So
look, she lived a hard life in those however many years.
Yeah, no, it was. She was. Her 2 years were pretty rough.
Yeah.
William Wallace lost battles. Like both of these characters. These characters actually have some interesting similarities, because they were both killed. Joan of Arc was basically declared a heretic by the church. 500 years later, the church made her a saint. They were like, oh, we made a mistake.
My bad.
Our bad. Half a millennia later, we'll correct the record.
Sorry for burning that lady alive.
And then, William Wallace won a really iconic battle. He's the character from the movie Braveheart. And so that's where most people, I think, by today, know him from. But he apparently had a legend that outlived his life anyway. So anyway, a lot of the characters in the game, you had you had warriors throughout time and history. So were represented by this game. So yes. It's well known for its historical accuracy. So, okay. All right. I am going to show you some support cards real quick. So we'll just throw up a Joan of Arc support card, and we'll throw up a William Wallace support card. Okay. Now, support cards have a lot of different varieties here. So this banner here for Joan of Arc, you'll see it's an item, one hand. This is used a lot in a lot of card games where you have a specific number of hands that you can use. William Wallace's Claymore here. I'm assuming it's a Claymore.
It says Clé de Mort. So,
yeah.
Looks like one of me.
Right. So, two-handed sword, right? And that's kind of what the Scottish were known for, using giant two-handed swords. So the number in the upper left-hand corner there is the initiative for the card.
Okay.
And so when we start our turn, you'll notice in front of me the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
When we start our turn, we'll both turn up a support card for the turn.
Oh.
And whoever's initiative is higher has the initiative for the round.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So the you'll notice also at the bottom there that these cards have text, and this text is ongoing throughout the game. So we actually gain power as
Every
the
round.
game goes.
Okay.
Yeah, both players gain power.
I like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really good. It's diceless, right?
Yeah.
Like now, if there is a tie for initiative, it goes to experience.
Okay.
And if there's still a tie based off of experience, then you dice off.
Okay.
Both players roll 2 dice, and then whoever rolled the highest wins.
If you're playing a match where both players have the same experience, I assume you're doing that a lot. Maybe.
Probably, yeah. No, I think I don't know I don't have a full spread. Like I don't have a spreadsheet of all the
heroes.
experience
Yeah.
stuff like that, but yeah, I would assume higher experience is best because at the end of the game, if you're tied in health, the person with the most experience wins.
Wow, that's kind of rough.
Yeah. But yeah, so this banner says after you are missed by an attack, your next successful attack does +1 damage. And then William Wallace's Claymore here says whenever you hit an opponent with this weapon, their defense rolls get -1 for the rest of the game. So you chip away at the armor there. You also, I should have pointed out, yeah, we have to keep breaking keys until we break the tie officially. So
Playing a game of break key is much more entertaining than rolling off.
yeah, I'll put the Claymore back up here for just a second. So the weapons have their own grid as well.
Okay.
And weapons also have their own damage on the.
Okay.
So yeah, it's entirely possible that both players would roll dice at the end of the game.
If everything is tied and
everything is tied,
then you just roll 2-1.
Right.
That kind of
Which
stuff.
is kind of what you were doing already
Yeah.
in the game, right? So, weapons can only be used once per turn.
Okay.
So you can only use the Claymore once per turn, but it has a different attack grid and it does more damage. William Wallace's basic attack there, if you remember on his card, only had 1 on it. I'll just put it up side by side. So once per turn, you could attack using the attack grid and do 2 damage.
So it's got like a kind of a range on it on the left there, right? So it can attack 2 spaces
Yes, yeah. Which makes sense, right? It's a two-handed
big sword.
Yeah. And then William Wallace can only kind of scrap up.
Where's the
close and
damage
personal.
that he's doing?
His damage is right there.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So, all right. Now, there's also armor. So, for instance, like Joan of Arc has got some armor. William Wallace doesn't have. He has like some leather armbands. I believe that's what these are. We'll read the flavor text. Used to protect wrists and forearms during sword fights, van braces were both simple to create and one of the most important pieces of armor to a Scottish warrior.
Yeah, okay.
So this is the leather van brace that are right on his thing. So it says once per turn after you are missed by an attack, you may immediately make a basic attack against an adjacent opponent at +0.
Oh.
You may use another armor. So the you may use another armor text is there. If you are making a like you're building, because I think he's only got the 1 piece in his set.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if you were combining cards from other factions, you could.
Is there what's the limitation as far as like deck building, or I guess?
Yeah, so there's no limitation.
building.
Like you could mix and match cultures however you wanted. The anecdote that I talk about all the time in this game was that there was like a ninja in the first set who had shurikens. And shurikens could attack a non-adjacent opponent.
Right.
And there was a Greco-Roman wrestler who got bonuses with attacks that weren't from weapons. And so for whatever reason, the shurikens weren't classified as weapons. So you were just this naked Greco-Roman wrestler who was just trying to stay away from the opponent. Because I think he got some like extra move as long as he didn't have armor.
So you would just kite them and throw shurikens?
Yeah, so you would just try to like hide somewhere on the grid and you're just like lobbing shurikens at them as fast as you could. And just trying to chip away at their damage. And then you could like you would just use your shuriken as your first option.
Yeah.
And then from there, you used a bunch of get out of jail free cards and stuff like that. So
I remember that I was super excited to play this game when I first came out. I just never got to
it's kind of like a
Deadliest Warrior. Yeah, it is.
This is Deadliest Warrior. I guess this predates Deadliest Warrior by a number of years.
Yeah, I think it was
right?
a couple years earlier.
Okay, so we're actually ready to get started there. We probably talked about the game longer than it's going to last.
Okay.
Because the game plays pretty quick. Now, I will point out one more thing. There are support cards that have reveal abilities. And so the reveal abilities happen, they do their thing before initiative, before we start taking our turn. So this the Michael Archangel here, this round, if you are not an Earth or Fire warrior, and Joan of Arc was an Earth or Water warrior, and Joan of Arc is a Fire warrior, so she doesn't have to worry about this ability. Your basic attacks against warriors without an armor card in play deal +1 damage. So that's what this does. For basically one round, you get bonus damage against somebody who doesn't have an armor in play. So keep that and do with that information what you will. You've grabbed William Wallace. If you want to play William Wallace, then go ahead.
I'm William Wallace. I'm William Wallace.
All right. So I'm just going to go real quick through the setup.
Okay.
Just to make sure that we don't miss anything. So to start the game, each player rolls 2 dice. I have a 7 also. All right, dice off.
9. 2.
2. Snake eyes. All right, good start. All right. Each player starting row is the row closest. So you're that one. I'm this one. The player who rolls the lower total places my warrior. So I'll put Joan of Arc right here.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. Then the player who rolls the higher total. And then each player then places your 4 support cards face down from left to right.
So is this going to be their order?
This is the order for the game.
Okay.
You don't have a way to change it.
We do not change it. Okay, that's cool. That's interesting that we make
Yes.
that decision right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said higher initiative goes first in the round?
That's correct.
Okay. Very interesting.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now we'll just... there's not a ton of rules in the game. So beginning each round, players simultaneously reveal their leftmost card. So I have the Archangel Michael here.
I got the Claymore.
All right, we've seen both of these. Yeah, so I have the higher initiative there, 5 to your 1, so I'm going to go first. Yeah, that's that.
Okay.
There's a bunch of card restrictions, but these starter decks don't have to worry about that. You could actually use multiple weapons or stuff like that if you had like a strategy where you were just like throwing one of them away. You would just like discard one. That's
so you can only have one in play.
Yeah.
So if like if you rerolled one, it would delete the other one. Or
yeah,
something?
the other one gets deleted. So
okay.
So this says this round, if you are not an Earth or Water warrior, your basic attacks against warriors without an armor card in play deal +1 damage. So now I have 3 speed. And for me to move a square requires an action.
Okay.
And so you can't move diagonally.
Okay.
You have to move orthogonally. So if I want to attack you, I have to like move up.
Right.
And as it is right now, I would just be moving into the range of your Claymore. Your Claymore's weak on this side. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And the red triangle on the attack grids is the facing that you're in. So when you move into a square, you can actually turn to face in any direction.
So that's not an action.
You have to spend an action point to reorient yourself in a grid if you're already there. But when you move into a grid, you can change your facing as part of the move into a specific part of the grid. So I'll move into the grid like this.
Can you change your facing like all the way like 180 degrees or just 90 degrees?
Yeah, it is. Player may spend an action to rotate your warrior in any direction. The player may spend an action to move 1 space along a column or row, and after moving into it, you may rotate in any direction. So you can't move diagonally unless you have cards that let you. And then you can't move into or through a square that contains another warrior. And so after, if a card ability allows the player to move the warrior, you can rotate it as part of that move.
That was all your actions for the whole round?
That's my whole round, yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm going to move up. So 1 action. I'm going to hit you with William Wallace's ability. So
okay.
+1.
All right, now here is how an attack is resolved.
Okay.
So, attacking a defending player, simultaneously roll 2 dice.
Okay. A 3.
All right. If a card ability allows the player to re-roll or adjust any dice, you can use that right now.
No.
Each player then applies any modifiers to the dice rolls. So anything that we had down
That's
here,
+1.
yeah, that's +1.
Okay.
Yeah. So you were attacking me with the basic attack.
Yeah.
Basic attack. Okay. So you have +1 to your roll. So you have a 4.
Okay.
And I have an 8. If the attacker rolls a higher total, the attack hits. If the attack and defense rolls tie, the attacker hits if you have more experience than the defender.
Okay.
And weapon attacks deal damage based off of that, and then basic attacks deal damage based off of the attack on there. If your attack roll are doubles, if you hit with doubles, that's a critical hit.
Oh, okay.
And you do double damage.
Okay.
So, you moved up for 1 action, you attacked me for 2, and you missed.
Right. Okay, so my last action is going to be use the greatsword.
Okay. Attacking with the claymore, all right?
So it's -1 in that location, so that's -1 to hit, right?
Yes.
And then it says that your first attack each round with a 2-handed non-range weapon deals +1 damage. You take +1 damage from critical hits.
Okay. All right.
Okay, 5. Yeah, no, it's a 4. It's a 4.
Minus. Oh, yeah. So 4 to 4.
And then you have more experience.
I have more experience, so I managed to just barely dodge the attack.
Okay.
So that's that round. We move to round 2.
Okay.
We flip over. I am flipping over the Épée de Martel.
The heck is that?
That's a sword.
Oh.
And it says, after you are hit by an adjacent opponent's weapon, if you are a fire warrior, you may immediately make an attack with this weapon at +0. This attack does +1 damage. So,
okay.
So mine is, it is initiative 3.
Once per turn after you're missed by an attack, you may immediately make a basic attack against an adjacent opponent at +0. You may use another armor.
All right, so now, in the terms of the game, adjacent means any character that's within the 8 boxes around you. So
okay,
we're
so
both
not just orthogonal.
We're both adjacent right now.
Okay.
So you have the highest initiative, so you are at 5 to my 3. So you get to go first this round.
All right, I'll use the. I'll use the sword. So
okay.
-1 attack.
You may as well use it because if you do land the hit, then all the rest of your hits.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one. Oh, okay, 3. So you're gonna hit me now. So it does +1 damage.
Your first attack each round with a 2-handed non-range weapon deals +1 damage. You take +1 damage from critical hits.
All right, so you hit me for 3 damage. Okay. So I'll just use this. I go down to 5.
Okay.
And I now have -1 defense for the rest of the game.
The rest of the game?
Yes. So the claymore hits.
Here, let's put it.
That's fine. You can put that marker right there. Yeah. Okay. All right.
And then, so that's my first action.
Yeah.
And then I will do basic attack.
Okay.
This is +1.
Okay. So I have -1 to this roll.
EP triggers. Oh yeah, you get your.
Yeah. This says after you are hit by an adjacent opponent's weapon, if you are a fire warrior, you may immediately make an attack with this weapon at +0. So I immediately make this attack. This does not use my speed. This also says your attack rolls gain +1 for each of your armor cards in play. I don't have an armor in play. You may use up to 3 armor cards in this game. Your defense rolls can gain a bonus from only 1 of your cards. So, all right.
+0.
Yeah. So I miss with the attack because this was a +0 attack. So that happened.
All right. One turn after you're missed by an attack, you may immediately make a basic attack against an adjacent opponent at +0.
You counterspell my counterspell.
Counterspell your counterspell.
All right.
Well, that ain't gonna hit.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. All right, we stopped that.
That's resolved. All right, that was my first action. So my second action is basic attack with William Wallace.
All right. So I'm -1 on this. So 4 to your +1s. You do hit, so you hit me for 1. So I'm down to 4.
Does doubles though?
And it did hit, so it's a crit, so it does double damage. So I'm down to 3.
Okay.
Because it is a basic attack. It goes off your 1 attack there.
So for this ability, you take +1 damage from critical hits. Is that just always forever?
I assume that's just active.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense. And then my last action, I think I'll just like walk backwards a little bit. He could attack again, right?
You could, yeah.
I'm just gonna take a little walk.
Okay, you're gonna bravely bravely move away.
Running away from little girls.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Okay, so I am going to move to here with one action. And then I will make some basic attacks, I believe. Actually, I guess I'll move up to here. That's like a blind spot for you. And I'll attack you with my epi. It's +2 directly in front of me.
Okay.
So 4, so this is 6.
Okay.
So that'll hit. I'll hit you for 1. So that'll put you down to 6. Okay. All right. So I had to walk, attack. That's it. That's my 3 actions. So
Next round.
Round 3. The Sporin. And I have the Saints banner. 7 initiative. That's right. We're flying in there.
If you roll a 1 on any of your dice, you may reroll that die.
Yeah, which is pretty good.
Pretty good.
So that works on defense or attack, right? And the banner says after you are missed by an attack, your next successful attack deals +1 damage. So, all right. So I will
Does that
attack.
carry forward to the next round?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So because it doesn't, there's no other timing charts in there. There's actually a pretty. I will say this is a pretty decent breakdown. It gives you like lots of bullet points on stuff. And it covers a lot of like corner cases. Now this is set 3, so I'm sure they learned a lot of lessons by the time that came out.
Yeah.
But so all right, so I'm going to attack you with the epi here. So this is +2. I have a 9, so +2. You don't get any rerolls, so I do hit. So you take 1 damage. Cannot use the epi again because
It's a weapon.
It's a weapon.
Okay.
I only used it for that 1 attack. All right, and then I guess I'll just basic attack you. So I will spend the +0 in the front square there. So attack you for 0. I have a 7 to 6, so that's another +1.
1 damage?
Yep.
Okay.
All right, and then number 3 will be just to attack you again. It's a 6 to 6. That's a hit because I have more experience than you as the defender.
Okay.
All right, stabbed you a bunch. We've even the score back up some. So.
Okay.
And ran in there with the short sword and hit you.
So I guess I'm gonna rotate and hit you with a sword.
Okay. This is a good time to hit.
7.
8 minus 1 is 7.
Damn.
So I barely escaped.
All right, I'll hit you with a basic attack.
Okay. Ooh, 11. That's
11,
probably hitting.
Oh, you're
by -1,
Yeah.
so I go down to 10. So you hit me with the basic attack, that puts me down to 2. And that was your 3 action because you had to use 1 to move.
Oh,
you
yeah,
swung the sword, and then you attack me with the basic. So
Okay.
last round. This is not a good time for a 1 initiative, I don't think.
I think this one is not super relevant, but it is. I did put it last because it's 3 initiative. So this it says once per round after you are hit by an opponent without an armor in play, your next attack deals +2 damage. But you have armor in play now, right?
Yeah, my last card's armor.
Okay.
I didn't actually read or understand Genomark's ability because I have bonuses based on the number of armor cards that I have.
Oh,
Right?
I see.
So I put my armor as last, which is an unforced error.
Okay.
Right? Anyway, so this says, this is an armor. It says your attacks deal +1 damage to a player who has used a reveal ability this game.
not.
No reveal abilities?
No. We ain't got
My
that.
God.
We don't do that.
Okay, so I've got a 1 initiative. You got a 3, so you're actually first.
I'm hitting you with a sword.
All right, don't get hit. 5.
Ooh.
All right,
You're dead.
Willie Wallace just hacked
Decapitated.
Joan of Arc to pieces right there.
Okay.
And there you go.
That's the game.
That's the game. So the game lasted about 15 minutes.
Okay.
My experience with this game was that the game played really, really quickly. And there's a lot of dice rolls involved, so you can't be too mad when a game was over.
Was it the best 2 out of 3 like in tournaments or whatever?
Yeah, I think so. There's actually a pretty decent sized. I didn't read it, but there's actually a decent sized section of tournament rules here, because it like let you swap out support cards and stuff like that. So when you're playing a match, it's like you can select any support cards from like your tournament stack, and so
you built a stack and then you selected for
and so like you see who your opponent's playing, and then you could start like picking stuff around.
That's pretty cool.
So this really kind of fits into that LCG mold, because you would buy packs and it would just be a character in there for support cards, which I think is really good for if you're trying to get people into the game. I just tell you, hey, go buy.
Go buy.
And I think the packs were like $5 or something like that, right? So it's like, oh yeah, you want to learn the game? Just grab somebody that sounds interesting to you off the shelf. We'll sit down and we'll play, and you could just, like all these cards work together and stuff like that.
It's interesting that they foiled everything. They didn't have to foil everything, right? They didn't have to print it on this kind of card stock, right? They put some money.
They went up above and beyond to try to make it like a collector item, right? Which I think is really cool. And you had like Ramses II. So it was like an Egyptian riding around in a chariot.
This is one of those games that if you could find it all now, it would just be a cool thing to have.
It would be, you could crack it open and play. Just like a lot. Honestly, a lot of the CCGs that we've played on Card Game Necromancy kind of fit into this mold.
Yeah.
Of just, I kind of want to play this again. I want to play this again, and you play it 30, 45 minutes, you're good for another 6, 9 months, whatever it may be. But, it's just this is one of those games I do find myself thinking back to, because I really liked this. And this is like pre League of Legends MOBA style kit assembly, right? Where you're just like taking 4 abilities and combining it with another character, and then have this arena that you battle in and stuff like that. So I feel like this game was like slightly ahead of its time, and if it came out as like an actual board game form instead of this proto card game, then maybe it would have had some longevity, more so than just like the year or two that it lasted.
My only complaint, and I think this is probably something that they could have fixed had the design been later, after 2004 or whatever, is the dice rolls. Because that's, you can just roll bad all day. And you're kind of screwed. And on both sides of the table, because you're rolling for defense and offense. So if there was some other way to resolve combat, I think this game would be much more interesting.
You almost, in a game like this, you almost need the dice to differentiate the games. Right? Because with 4 cards and 4 positions, it's like an actual double-digit number of possible games of how you lay this out.
Because if it's a card game, you're like drawing from a deck, and it's a regular TCG. That's the randomization.
Sometimes you'll have a game where you draw 3 copies of a 4-of card that you have. You can't be mad at that, right? But if you've got a 60-card deck and you don't see a copy of one of your 4-of cards in the first like 15, that's also statistically probable. It's not even like unlikely.
Maybe the dice are a necessary evil for this type of game.
I think so. Yeah.
I wonder if there's some other way.
Right. If you know what they play tested, right? This is the Hearthstone, right, is an example of that. You've got a 30-card deck, half the size of it. And ever since Hearthstone came out, I would say that the deck sizes in games have shrunk significantly. Because
like 40 being kind of the standard.
The FFG was doing a lot of that beforehand. The Netrunner card game had like minimum deck sizes that were smaller. But you also like restricted the number of cards that could be in a deck.
We all know that 36 cards is the perfect number. Anyways,
that's true.
Do you want to swap and play one more game?
I honestly don't think the game will turn out that differently.
I don't think so. Let's swap. I just want to see out. Because we've only been live for 30 minutes. So.
Yeah, that's fair. That's all right. We'll play one more. All right.
Play one more.
So we'll roll to see who sets up first. Okay, so you set
Okay.
up first.
There. Now I'm just going to not make the same mistake you did.
All right, we'll go there.
So your attack
I'll go
rolls get
there.
+1 for each of your armor cards in play. You may use up to 3 armor cards this game. And so she has 1 armor?
Yeah.
She only has 1 armor, okay.
Yeah, you want
But like
that.
you would, if you're building Joan of Arc, you probably like slap 3 armor cards in there.
Yeah, yeah.
You build her around armors.
You could even use this one that says you may use another armor, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it says once per turn after you are missed by an attack, and you would think with another armor in play.
So can you only use 1 armor a turn normally? Is that what that means?
Well, you can normally only have 1 armor because of the rules, right? The restrictions. Let's go. I can just.
So when it says you may use another armor, that's mean you can pack another armor?
Yeah. There are restrictions of what cards a player can have in any play at a time, just as limits of what number a warrior could wield in battle. If the player reveals cards that result in his warrior exceeding one of these limits, the player must choose and discard one of the cards.
Okay, so that does say you may use... Okay, I see.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can't have duplicates of any card, so you can't just play like 4 copies of the same card that like give you, say, +1 action, right?
Okay.
And you can only have 1 card with any of the following traits face up at play any time: torso, head, leg, arm, or shield. And warrior may use 2 hands worth of support cards. So.
Okay, I see. All right, I got it.
Okay.
All right, I got the thing.
All right, I
armor.
have Sporin, which is the after a roll of 1, I get to re-roll it.
Okay. So we're tied, so I'm initiative.
So you win.
Okay. My attack still +1 damage to a player who has used a reveal ability this game. You don't have it in your kit. I know this.
Yeah.
But I do get +1 attack for each of my armor cards in play.
Yes.
That's pretty sweet. Let's see. I think I'm going to play a little defensively. Do move with a rotate. Or do I rotate there? I can do move. Then, well, I mean, I could just like do 2 actions and pass. Is that the most cowardly thing?
It's pretty cowardly, yeah.
That's pretty cowardly, right?
I expect this from a coward such as yourself. Yes, because some cards may have an action on them. So, like sometimes, like, I don't think any of these characters did, but sometimes cards had actions on them, and but yeah, passing is totally viable.
Okay, 1, 2, then I'll pass.
Okay, I will go 1, 2, and then I will attack.
Okay.
Ooh.
Boom.
So +1, you've got 10 there, so you're good. Okay, that's that.
Next round.
Next turn. My Claymore.
I got the Martel, the EP. So I have a 3.
I move 1.
Okay. So after I'm hit by an adjacent opponent's weapon, if I'm a fire warrior, I make an attack at +0 with +1 damage. All right. So I am. Okay, so I can use this weapon, but it doesn't do anything special.
Yeah, it still only hits for 1.
Okay.
So
I guess it does have different attack grid.
true.
So there's that. So I'm gonna move here.
Okay.
And I will shoot. I'll hit you with the EP, so it's +2.
Okay.
And then +1, so it's +3. Oh my god. 6.
8.
Dang.
I easily deflect that.
You don't have the armor out, right?
That's correct. I have no armor out.
And then I will hit you with the basic attack.
Okay.
This is +1. Boom. 10.
So 8. So yeah, you hit me.
1 damages.
All right, down to 6. Okay, it's my action. I am we gotta move. To just Do we just stand and bang?
I mean, that's certainly a.
I think that's a viable. I think that's a viable strategy. All right, so we'll stand and bang. So I'll turn, and attack. We'll start with the claymore. It does give you a free hit if
you hit. Yeah. No, if you hit with it.
If I hit, it gives you. Whatever. This is 3 damage. So here we go. All right, it's 9. So 8. You don't have any bonus defenses, right?
No.
All right, so you take 3.
God.
And you get -1 to your defenses for the rest of the game with Claymore.
Okay. Boom. And so I do get to make an attack with the Martel. I immediately make an attack with this weapon at +0. This attack deals +1 damage.
Okay.
So. Yeah.
Easily deflected.
Jeez.
Okay, now I will make a basic attack. You don't have anything for basic attacks, right? So you're just -1 here. That's a 10. So take 1.
Okay.
Okay, next turn. I have 5 initiative.
I also have 5.
All right, you got more experience than me, so you get to go first.
So this round, if you are not an earth or water warrior, your basic attacks against warriors without an armor card in play deal +1 damage.
This is an armor. I flipped it up at the right time. So, and after I'm missed by an attack, I may immediately make a basic attack.
Yikes. So. Yikes. Okay. I mean, I feel like I'm not winning the stand and bang, but I don't know what else I'm supposed to do, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I
you don't have ranged. Yeah, you don't have any like range things.
I could like shift to here, which makes you shift, but then you're getting a +1. I could shift to.
Well, if you shifted there, I can just swing the claymore at you.
Oh yeah.
So
okay. I don't think there's a good option. So I'm gonna swing the Martel.
Okay.
Or the EP. God.
All right, easily deflected.
Right, you're missed.
Actually, you're +3, I think, right?
Oh, yeah.
+1 for the armor, and the epi is +2.
Oh, yeah. So
yeah. +3, so it's a 6 to my 6. So you actually hit there.
Okay.
So that puts me down to 5.
Because it's 1 damage.
Yes, just 1 basic damage, yeah. I don't think you have any extra. I have an armor, so you don't get extra.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then I'll make a basic attack. So this is just +1.
Okay.
9.
That'll hit. So I'm down to 4. Okay. Well, I'm coming in with the clay, and that's your.
I have 1 more.
Yeah, 1 more.
I don't think I can get smanged 3 times.
It's Claymore?
Yeah.
Claymore hits pretty hard. Nerf Claymores.
Not sure I want to get smanged 3 times.
Need some crits.
I'll just shift back 1. Yeah, for sure.
Where are you going? Where are you going? All right, I'm swinging at you with the Claymore.
Okay.
Ooh. Oh, okay. That'll hit.
Hits.
Yeah. So take 3. Clang!
1. I do get to attack back.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you got -1 defense for the rest of the game.
Again. Yet again. Oh my god. Please.
I get to reroll this one.
Yep.
Yeah. Super defense. That's the first one I've rolled. All right, I'm just gonna try to see if I can finish you off with my basic attack here. 8.
I'm at 7.
-2. Yeah. Boom.
All right. Well,
Joan of Arc's
we
trash.
determined who's the deadliest warrior.
We determined that a 35-year-old Scottish warrior with a 2-handed sword can beat an epileptic French village girl to death with a sword.
Damn, you hate to see it.
There you go. All right, that is Anachronism. Nerf William Wallace.
It's too powerful.
It's too powerful. 15 years later, I'm confident enough to say that William Wallace is too good at this game. Based off,
Someone's gonna have to do something about that guy.
We're looking at you, English.
Yeah, come on.
All right, there you go. That was fun. You gotta love a fast game.
Yeah, I do.
You gotta love a fast game.
It's solid.
So there you go.
I could see you could easily do. Like, we could do a tournament, right? We could do
an Anachronism tournament,
and it would be fun.
One night.
It would be a stream, yeah.
It would be a stream. We could do 8.
Maybe we find a.
This stuff is out there.
Right?
I don't. Yeah. I think some of this stuff is expensive.
I'm sure
I'm willing to bet
the
later sets are expensive, but I think the earlier sets were like overprinted, and it probably what led to the game falling on a hole. But
we could systematically determine the deadliest warrior.
And here's the thing: is like it's not like I think all of the cards for this game are published out there, and so it's not like we couldn't just proxy the stuff, right?
Proxying stuff.
I know, but if we were trying to like just
That's crazy
there are
talk.
3 sets that exist only in paper form anyway.
Oh,
they,
okay.
they were never released. So if we're trying to be
man.
completionists, then so
I would just want to complete this stuff that exists, right?
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Because these card stocks are nice. Like these are, like you said, these are good collectors.
Yeah, these would look nice in a binder.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're gonna go trade for stuff.
Right.
You
got what you got.
$5,
Yeah,
right, for
exactly.
the pack. So you just go buy it. So
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody.
yeah, it was a nice tight card game Necromancy. Wrapped it up quick there. So
Yep, pretty good. And of course, Sunday we'll be back with Keyforge, the Winds of Exchange tournament.
yes, we're back on track with that now that we're
Finish out the
not
first round.
distracted by Zach anymore.
Yeah.
So
Much less sweat in this room.
Yeah.
Now that he's gone.
So
Slightly
appreciate
less
everybody
sweaty.
hanging around tonight.
Yep.
And we'll see you Sunday.
Have a good night. Goodbye.